things well. I mean, that's a great way of looking at it. Go ahead and just pass the mic down. I want everyone to answer that question. What are the trends? What are you seeing, and what should we expect?
I think we all know who's the least technology-oriented person on the panel tonight, but I'll do my best to answer. I'll stick more on the human capital side, if that's all right. I think with the fractional, the opportunities to employ, engage, great experience on a fractional basis not only opens the doors, as I mentioned earlier, for companies to have that person join the team, join their company on a fractional basis, and really kind of glean their experience, their relationships, their know-how, and execution. But it's an interesting opportunity and time right now for executives who are in transition to be able to participate instead of committing themselves to one company, one role, one set of responsibilities. They actually get to be sort of project leads on multiple projects across multiple companies. Some of the companies may not even be related in different verticals. So it's a really interesting time, and it's the first time in my 25-year career that I've seen this type of trend come to light, and it's kind of fun. It's sort of, we're in a weird space right now where everybody's sort of being, led into an area where you can be an entrepreneur if you want to tomorrow, and if you choose to cut that umbilical cord from your W-2 job, there's a lot of resources, a lot of fractional talent, and a lot of technology that is very accessible, very affordable, and actionable.
I love that. I love that.
Okay. For security and privacy, as long as the laws go, the legislative process is often slow, and so we are getting. It's painful. In terms of, especially compared to AI, how fast it's going, a lot has been on the book 10 years. In terms of legal, that's kind of new. But it was probably about a year ago most of us heard about ChatGPT, and so there are more and more states coming up with their own privacy laws, and a company doesn't just deal with people in one state. Sometimes it's, in the US I think it's mostly where you're interacting with people. In Europe it's what citizenship it is. So you've got all these different regulations and laws, and the Biden administration has required a whole bunch of agencies to come up with their recommendations on AI use and regulation. So this year, there's a real possibility of a bunch of new laws being proposed around AI. So that's more of what's coming, I guess, and the trend, because privacy has been a trend towards, GDPR isn't really that old. California followed, other states are following, and in Europe it's more of a big framework. In the US it's more like patchwork, but you need to be able to deal with all of that, and so sometimes the trends are people are making some of the mistakes. Those are some of the headlines we see. People putting companies' trade secret software into ChatGPT, lawyers having ChatGPT write their briefs and not proofread it. So right now we're hearing about the few big mistakes, and the trend is let's learn from that, and don't be the one who makes the headline. So.
Yeah. I'd love to add to that. One of the concerns with AI is this going to perpetuate decision making? AI is so fast and efficient. Is it going to perpetuate decision making to try to line up with that speed? And I caution people to, we have to be mindful of the fact that while AI is a very powerful tool, it's important to always have the human element of making sure we have our controls. And it's not just KPI driven, right? I mean, we got to account for the controls, making sure that our inputs are thorough, you know, and that we're not just knee-jerk throwing a bunch of data at it and whatever spits out, that's what we're gonna go with. And that we're actually taking the time to evaluate the outputs and cross-reference them against our operational financial controls and making sure it's still the right path or course of action.
No, I think, and that's exactly right, and as you asked Mike to solve, the policy piece is so important. The policy at the intersection of human dynamics. And what people forget is that public policy moves in 50-year increments about that. So you legislate, especially at the federal level, on about a 50-year cycle. So we're just now turning over from the 20th century and starting to figure out how do we plan for the 21st century.